Hello there. This is my extreme version of the Project Zero. And what I did is created a spaceship that can be moved using the arrow keys as a user input, which is pretty similar to what was said on the official website, option 3, to add the ability to control a spacecraft that is subject to the gravitational forces of the object in the solar system. And so, in addition to that, I also added an extra feature to shoot certain pellets at the largest body mass within the universe, which I'll explain more later when I show my project. Okay, so to show, this is what it looks like. Here's a ship I set within a certain area, X position, Y position. And as you can see, I can move the ship using my arrow keys up. This is up, left, right, and down. And so it is subject to the forces of, whoop, there it goes. Yeah, so it is subject to my arrow keys, which I use by researching online. I originally tried to look online about stuff like key listeners or action events, but then I soon came to realize that within the STD draw library, they had taken account for these the possibility of the user or programmer who may want to use this option of moving, having the option of having user inputs for the keys or mouse, but I decided to use the keys because it was more conventional to move things such as a ship. And so I mainly used one of their methods, which was quite useful, which is in their description. I found that isKeyPress was quite a useful method to use, very easy. I needed to put an input of a key code, which I had to look up online, which each key had their own key code. And I needed those for the arrow keys and the X button to shoot things. And so that was quite useful when I put it in a couple of if statements in the while loop of the NBodyExtreme. And here is, everything works pretty much the same. So yeah, it gives you it's exactly like the original. But in terms of my other feature, which is to shoot things, all I do is press the X and it releases a little pellet, and is also subject to the gravitational forces. And so it goes straight to the biggest object inside the universe, which is the sun. Yes. I can hold on to the button and it creates a string of planets. And how I accounted for adding new bodies, which this little pellet is by using something called this, which I found online, ArrayList class. And it had a bunch of features that were quite useful for me, such as adding without having to worry about any certain capacity on the original list that we use. And yeah, I used a couple of things such as getting the size and whatnot. And all I did was really go back to the original file and converted everything based off on, I just converted all the regular lists that we learn in class by using into this kind of thing. So that was fun in both the two files, NBodyExtreme and NBodyExtreme.java. And so if we wait a bit, this should pop out the output just like the little pellet right there. And that's quite fancy, yes. So yeah, and in terms of the way the ship looks up, down, left, right, I have a variable that just keeps track of that called looker, and it carries a string, and I made sure each corresponded to up, down, left, right. So up would be the string U and whatnot. And and the if statements did the rest. And you see this is the output. Everything's the same, but whenever I press the X to release a pellet, it also records. Well, I use Pluto as the image, but you can take a look at that method. I have a little funny description in there. And so it keeps all the Pluto, or all these pellet descriptions onto this output. I didn't want to have the option of deleting it, so that's why these are all here. Oh yeah, fun fact is that this program is capable enough to be added to any other text file and still have the same extra features that I was intending to add. For example, if I just pick a random file, all that is needed is to update the bodies, because I need to add the starship. And here's just a randomly set position and its velocities and its mass. And that's really all you need to do. Quad stars. And so if I run it, which is it should work just like this file right here. See, there's the ship, and it can be moved and can't be shot at. And there it goes, shooting at the largest bodies around. It's very fancy. And the ship could go off screen and come back as long as it doesn't go off too far away. Alright, thanks for listening.